Welcome to Oil and Whiskey, an Ironclad original. I am Josh Henning.
I'm Phil Gerber.
I'm Jeremy Gerber.
Nolan Sykes is a car enthusiast, content creator, comedian, and creative producer for Donut Media. Donut Media is an automotive content and apparel brand with more than 7 million YouTube subscribers. That's 7 with an M behind it. 7 million.
It's a lot of zeros after the 7.
A shit ton.
Yeah.
Nolan also hosts their shows Wheelhouse and HiLow, as well as their podcast, Past Gas. Great name. I feel like
thank you.
We could probably fit right in there with Past Gas.
Yeah, you should be a guest on that.
Yeah. I don't think it's that type. You can check them out on Instagram at Donut Media. Check out their merch on their website, donut.media.com. You can find Nolan on Instagram at Nolan J. Sykes. Nolan Sykes, welcome to Oil and Whiskey.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for the invite.
Our pleasure, dude. This is exciting, man. You got a heck of a cool page. Lots and lots of cool content.
Yeah, a little outside of our normal wheelhouse of guys and in the tight industry that we kind of live in. So season 2 has been about kind of branching out.
Diversity.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah, just diversification.
That's great.
So tell us
happy to be here.
Tell us about your background and where you kind of got your start and
Sure. As far as internet content goes, I was finishing up my last semester of TV production, studying TV production over at CSU Northridge here in Southern California. And to graduate from my program, I needed to just get an internship, and it wasn't very strict as to what it was, but hopefully you get something in TV production or any sort of production. And I knew that a few different automotive outlets down here might be looking for people. I contacted like Motor Trend, and I tried to get in touch with the Roadkill guys. I don't think I had the right contact information, but I also knew that this small channel called Donut Media was might be open to something like that. So I got in contact with them, kind of took a stab in the dark, and the CEO of the company, since there's only like 7 people working there at the time, answered me, and he's like, "Hey, we're kind of busy right now. Get me back in like a month." So I set an alarm on my calendar to the minute, basically, for a month from that time. And as soon as that alarm went off, I emailed them again and went in for an interview, and I was taken on as an intern and just kind of went from there, learned the ropes. At the time, Donut Media was a lot different of a company. It was more of like an advertising. We made advertisements back then. A company like Nissan or Snap-on would contract us to make an ad for their channel. And, eventually we figured that, hey, if we're going to spend so much time on production, it might as well be for our own brand. So that's when we started branching out away from the ads and doing like regular series on YouTube, like Up to Speed. And then eventually the show I hosted called Wheelhouse, and another show called Science Garage. And the brand really took off from there. And that's when we really started accruing subscribers with very consistent uploads with consistent themes across all of them.
At that point in time, when you're launching new shows, you're putting out new content, you're doing that, is that because you've got a bunch of different varying interests, and you're like, we want to do this, we also want to do this, we also want to do this, let's do it? Or is it also kind of a science experiment, and let's throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, see which one hits, and that'll kind of tell us our direction?
Yeah, we've definitely done that, the kind of like seeing what sticks approach. But Up to Speed itself was kind of like a new format for car YouTube at the time. Everybody else was kind of focused on either driving cars, reviewing cars, building cars, and we were just kind of talking about them and just really focusing on specific model history. And then we started looking at what other channels outside the car sphere were doing. So the show that I hosted, Wheelhouse, we looked at other like news channels like Vox and said, oh, this is like a more kind of like sociological kind of look at car culture. Let's try that. And, we tried a lot of different stuff in that show that eventually spawned other shows. So we would do videos that were very list heavy, ranking stuff. We did a video where we ranked all the cars from Pixar's Cars series. And eventually that format, it didn't really hit very well on Wheelhouse because that's not what the subscribers and fans of that show really wanted. But we spun that off into its own kind of show called the D-List. And then, fans or people would find the D-List and be like, oh, I'll watch D-List because it's always going to be that format. And that's kind of something we learned a little into it. Is like, people are going to subscribe to your videos if they're consistent. If someone's subscribing to a show for a show, they want that show to kind of be the same thing every time, not all over the place like we were experimenting with Wheelhouse. And then Science Garage, that was very engineering and just very science focused, which guys like Engineering Explained and other channels have proven were successful formats or successful topics, and we kind of had our own spin on that. Yeah.
Go ahead.
That'd be a pretty cool time to get started in this because there's no other body of work really out there. You guys are kind of at the forefront and just, Wild West, blue sky. You can do anything you want and see where it goes and let it meander in whatever direction it wants.
It's been, I feel very lucky to be a part of it, but also it's so interesting to be a part of kind of like a growing medium like this, I think a lot of other YouTube channels also come with a startup mindset, and it's been kind of funny. The fact that it is a new way of doing things gives us a lot of freedom, but also there's times when we realize that TV and film production has already figured out a lot of the problems that we've come across, and it's like, oh, because we have people coming in straight from school that have never necessarily worked in the film industry, we don't have that endemic knowledge. But now that we're getting bigger and we are able to hire people that have more experience, we are kind of learning. We keep learning faster every year, it feels like, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's really fascinating. It's going to be, just even outside of the car sphere, it's going to be really interesting to see where like the YouTube, we'll say, free content ends up, as opposed to network TV and film and streaming services like Netflix, which still work with a lot of known studios that have been around for a long time.
I know this is going to sound super stupid to you because you live this and are into it, but it's funny when you're talking about, you'd spin this off and do another channel with this, and this is what these subscribers want. To me, instantly, I'm like, that just makes no fucking sense to me, because it doesn't, because it's like, well, if you don't like that video, just don't watch that video. But like, there's probably 200 other ones.
Oh,
but then,
man.
You put your head into like you said, the TV world, and I mean, you've got channels, you've got ESPN, and they're going to do sports stuff. So they're not going to do like a 60 minutes documentary, but then they start doing some of that stuff, but it's sports. At that point, you can just change the channel, but it's still kind of halfway live TV, or you do on demand. On the YouTube thing, it's like you should have one channel with a bunch of different stuff. Is what is my mind. That's where my mind goes. It
feels like that, huh? Yeah, that has been a really interesting and sometimes frustrating kind of problem to figure out, because you're right. It's like, okay, if you don't like this video, just wait until another video that you like comes along. But maybe you're as the creator, maybe you just need to guide the audience a little bit better. Maybe that falls on you, or maybe if an audience didn't watch a video, maybe it wasn't a good video to begin with, and you kind of got to examine it that way. But thinking of it like, ESPN's a great example, because like, yeah, they've got like 30 for 30 and then Sports Center and then actual games. It's like, I mean, ESPN's been around for so long, obviously, that the viewers come to know what to expect. And I don't know, we just got to keep building the brand, I guess, and hoping that the audience trusts us. Sometimes we take some big risks and it pays off. Sometimes we put blood. We replace a car's oil with pig's blood, and that doesn't hit.
I could see how that one could maybe be controversial.
That goes to ESPN, the Ocho.
Explain that difference.
Exactly. Yeah.
Explain
you don't
that.
want to become the Ocho.
Explain that difference of why a view is a view and the subscriber thing is like, so like, that's to get somebody to subscribe is like difficult in and of itself. And then they treat their subscription like at such a high standard. If I'm subscribing, you better give me the thing that I want all the time, or I will unsubscribe. Like, just watch another fucking video.
I have a difficult time with it, and I think you do too, because we're kind of like the old guys.
Yeah,
I haven't subscribed to anything. If I want to find, I'll just look it up. There's a search engine. Just type what you want.
Yeah, I'll type in what the video I'm trying to find. I don't need the subscription.
Right. But doesn't, we're probably the ones that are a little,
I know. And I preface it with, it sounds stupid. And I mean, that's why we're having this discussion is the subscription thing. So because they're subscribing, they're going to get notifications when a new video drops. So they only want a notification on a video that is in their wheelhouse. And they're defined like, this is the thing I'm into. That's why I subscribe. So don't give me anything that I'm not into. But you realize that they don't have to watch it. Like if they get a notification of a video that they're not into, just don't watch it. There's like a shit ton more videos that you could watch.
Yeah, that is it. Like asking someone to subscribe is like almost asking them to, even though it's just clicking a button, it really goes beyond. It feels like you're asking them to become, like it's like taking that next step of becoming a fan and like welcoming them into like your kind of club almost. And when you bring notifications into it, I think that's almost scarier, asking them to turn notifications on, because if their phone buzzes at an inopportune time and they're in a bad mood and they're like, oh, that's not a video I want to watch. Wait, I'm not even gonna, you know what? I'm done with these guys. Like I'm sure it's driven a lot of views, letting people know that there's a new one up. But at the same time, it's like, if you're not giving them what they want, like that gives, the right person at the right time license to unsubscribe. It's really interesting.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, YouTube channels now, it's so much like YouTube itself as a platform really wants to keep the viewer engaged. They're all about like, they will reward videos that keep users on the platform longer. So that's kind of driven channels to think of themselves more as like a community, like, hey, you're joining the Donut Media community now. If you're watching all of our videos and you're hanging out in the comments and like just consuming all of our videos, like you're not just like someone on YouTube, like you're a Donut fan. And getting back to like, why would you want someone to subscribe? Like that is like, there's like currency there, a social currency almost. It's pretty interesting.
What are the benefits for having someone subscribe to the channel? I mean, what does that do for them? What does that do for you as the company? You hear it all the time, subscribe, comment down below, but there's never really
I think it's
anything behind that.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Yeah.
That's what you.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, when I subscribe to a channel, it's like, okay, now I know I'm not going to miss their videos, even if sometimes YouTube's algorithm does mess up and doesn't feed me videos. There's been problems with that in the past, but generally, if I like a channel enough, I'm going to subscribe. I'm not going to miss the videos, and it is like kind of like a show of support. On the other end, at like the channel side, it's like, okay, if we get another 1 million subscribers, we can now use that to better negotiate brand deals, and it feels good to have a big number. But I mean, practically, that is like the biggest reason is like now you have a bigger bargaining chip. It's like, hey, you can approach these brands and be like, we have this audience, so this many people are going to see it. Therefore, we can charge you this much to run an ad of yours on our channel.
Yeah, I was looking at kind of from the business side that we have a lot of guys in our industry have small YouTube pages and everybody's trying to grow it. And there's always like that black magic of what does it take to grow your YouTube page, grow your following. Someone at your size, I got to imagine that it's, like a huge help to continue to grow the business. Like you said, can reach out to bigger advertisers, bigger sponsors to then produce more and better content, which then just kind of keeps that cycle going.
Subscribers are the really only, I guess, untainted metric that's real if they subscribe. Views you can pay for. Views you can pay for if you want to, stuff like that. You can also, different videos get different views just based on the content on it. So it's difficult to measure your ad by, just views alone. The subscribers are like, well, those guys actually, that's how many actual fans they've got.
So I would also say, not to get too far into the weeds on YouTube itself, but like I would also say a very good metric would also be watch time. Like how long does a viewer watch your video, you know, because you can get a lot of people to click on it with a really spicy title or thumbnail.
Right.
But if you don't like deliver on that promise, they might just bail out, like, you know, even before halfway through. But yeah, views and subscribers is like a pretty good indicator of, I mean, yeah, it's like a really tangible metric. Not to say that there aren't really small channels that aren't putting out good stuff just because their numbers are smaller. They just might have issues with packaging, like thumbnail and title, or something with the algorithm isn't favoring them or whatever. It's tough, man. Well, yeah,
that was where I was going to go. The next that was on the thumbnail do. You have somebody that's just doing really good, informative content and doing a good job at doing their thing, but they just don't know the algorithm. They haven't been in it long enough. They're not playing the game, which is, it's in one way kind of doing a disservice to the YouTube consumer. But at the same time, you know, YouTube has to have some standards of how they promote and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really the packaging, like thumbnail and titling kind of game, and like there's been just so many different waves over the years of like what's in fashion for like what audiences want to see. And like right now, one of the biggest YouTubers in the world, might be the biggest, MrBeast.
Yeah,
he is kind of like running the game right now in terms of like what thumbnails look like, you know, very colorful, very like big expressions. And you know, sometimes it's kind of annoying to be like, you want me to do what with my face for this thumbnail? But at the end of the day, that's what drives clicks. And I think like most people making the content are aware that they look kind of weird with their faces all, you know, stretched or whatever, but that's just the reality of that's what gets clicks, you know. And if you can't get, you can spend so much time, it just comes down, like if you could spend so much time working on a video, so much effort, but if you're not getting people in the door, then all of that effort was for nothing, you know, if people don't watch it. And that's what's so frustrating. It took us a very long time to sort of figure out how to do our thumbnails. And
not to derail this, but do you think Josh's face has anything to do with the reason why we're not at 7 million followers?
That's exactly what I was taking out of that. I'm like, I know why we only have 66,000 followers and he has 7 million. It's the facial thing we got going on.
My face is very important.
We can fix this. I mean, there's hope for us. We're going to get the viewers up, dude. We're going to go back to the drawing board. It's going to be good. But I was going to, we'll move past that. Okay. I was going to ask you, we've got in our industry, I don't know how familiar you are with our hot rod industry, but it's kind of a small, tight knit group. And there's a lot of awesome, wildly talented shops that make some really cool stuff. And everybody's trying to have, you know, some sort of a presence to get their products out there, promote their cars. And it seems like everybody in our industry, you know, they kind of land that like 5 to 100,000 subscribers kind of range. Right. So for those guys, like guy who builds some $1 million vehicle that's super badass, nice, well-produced little video of just showcasing the car. Mm-hmm. What's your advice to that shop who doesn't have a lot of subscribers? What do you do with that
social media team?
Yeah. What do you do with that video to start getting things rolling?
I think the biggest key to a small channel just starting out, or even a channel that's been small for a while, is like consistency and upload. You know, someone's probably not going to subscribe if they see that you've only uploaded once every, 6 or 8 weeks. But if they see that you're doing it every week, then they're way more likely to subscribe, because they're like, okay, I know if I subscribe and I like this guy, if I like this person's content and I subscribe, I know that I'm going to get a consistent kind of output. And that's where kind of some of the hard part about being on YouTube comes into play, because, you know, you really do have to do it. Like, at least you have to post at least once a week. And for a company of our size, like last year, we were putting out 3 to 4 videos every week. And it was a lot. It was really intense. And we stopped doing that about halfway through last year, and kind of strategized how we're going to do this. Cause it just became too much in terms of, there was a lot of load on the editors having to put all the videos together. There was a lot of load on us hosts, like having to shoot like every day, just different topics like every other day. And we just kind of felt like we were compromising sometimes. So now we're really more focused on a lower output at a higher quality of like topics that we're really excited about and want to present. But back to the 5,000 subscriber channel, like that's where it can become kind of a bit of a drag. It's like, okay, not only am I a shop that has to put out, has to deliver to my customers, I have to focus on like building these cars, which is extremely time consuming, but now I'm going to add the workload of shooting a video and then editing it. I mean, that's like another job, so I don't have an easy solution for that besides maybe hiring one person that focuses, like they're only in the shop to document and edit, like my friend, he doesn't own a shop, but my friend Kevin at Junkyard Digs, his whole channel is about reviving abandoned cars. So he spends 2 days or so a week, 2 or 3 days a week, reviving said car, getting it started, driving it, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest of his week is editing that footage. And it's just like, I look at him sometimes, I'm like, man, that's so much work. And he just does it every week. It's just that over and over again. Yeah.
Well, this will be my last YouTube question. We'll move on. You got 3 obviously major entities of the YouTube media machine. You've got YouTube itself. That's the curator. They're finding all the creators out there, and they're giving it to the consumer. You're in the middle. You're the content creator. Then you've got, obviously the viewers. The relationship between all those is ever changing. What is changing more, the YouTube's algorithm and the way they're doing things, or your fans and what they're wanting to see?
That's a really good question. I think like trends, I would say, let's address both sides first. I think audience side, it's like the styles of videos, like the main style of video has really shifted over the last couple of years over like what audiences really like. A few years ago, it was like those Vox style, like here's like an in-depth look about a topic you might not have heard of. Before that, it was like really short comedy sketches and then news videos. And like, then it was like pranks for a long time. And then now it's more of like this, now like MrBeast doing like stunts and competition for money kind of videos. Like there's an entire genre of like MrBeast imitators out there. It's pretty interesting to see. It's wild. But yeah, the audience tastes definitely change a whole lot over the years. Like there's a lot of kids using YouTube now. Like, they're not watching Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network in the morning anymore. They're on YouTube.
They're watching toy reviews and watching other people play video games.
Yeah. So I would say that the audience is maybe shifting a little bit younger now. But also on the YouTube side, like, as far as I know, the company leadership over at YouTube has changed hands a few times in the last 10 years. And their focus has shifted a lot from like being a social network and community to, hey, we want to actually compete with network television. We want to keep the people on the network, or keep people on the site so they're not switching over to Netflix or whatever. So with those kind of two factors, like an audience that's changing like demographically, age-wise, and kind of shifting business strategy over at YouTube, it's kind of like a weird mix of like what's happening in the middle that we're in right now. And you just got to navigate it. You got to find the trends that are working. Like how do we do that sort of stunt gimmick video? Like, for example, yesterday's video that just came out, I have a 1952 Chrysler Imperial. It's been in the parking lot over at Donut for almost 2 years now. And, it's kind of,
I watched this video. I was going to ask you about it.
So, okay. Yeah, let's get into that. So we were heading back from Bonneville, that got rained out this year. I was in the back of the truck thinking like, okay, I got to get this Imperial built. But because of how YouTube is right now, I know that a straight up like, let's just get the car running and put it around kind of video.
Not to cut you off. I apologize. Before they don't know what you're about to say. Before you tell them the premise of the video and how you came up with the idea, tell me right now, how far into filming that did it take you to realize that this was a stupid idea?
Oh man. I mean, it was probably the third day in, I was like, oh man,
Okay.
this is a lot. Yeah.
All right. Now continue. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sitting in the back of the truck, I'm thinking, okay, we need like a spicy, how do we get people's attention? That's not just like relying on them to be excited about a 7-year-old car that none of our audience is going to have any fondness for, you know? And it's like, what if I just locked myself in the garage and I couldn't leave until the car was done? Unfortunately, that was the first idea I came up with on my list. And after writing down 30 more ideas, I was like, nah, that first one's still the best. So I guess we're going to go with that. And as soon as I pitched it, my bosses were like, oh yeah, that's great, let's do it. And I was like, okay, so I'm actually really going to have to do that. Great. So I mean, we filmed that the week before Christmas. So I mean, it was really, we were up against the wall there, and there was a risk that I was going to have to stay a few days into Christmas break. But luckily, I mean, that car is not the most complicated in the world. It was just a lot of small things that added up. And it was a really great time.
So how many days did you spend in the garage putting the car together?
5 days. Yeah. Oh. Monday to Friday. Yeah.
Didn't leave the garage at all?
No, I mean, I was in the office building. So we have like a writer's room with a couch. I slept in there overnight. And, but yeah, it was mostly I was just on the property for a week.
It hits home because we have all done that.
Yeah.
Not obviously for YouTube.
Just right there out in the shop.
Right there out in the shop. Because we had to finish cars back in the day. So I was watching that earlier and I'm like, holy shit, like we did it, but at the same time, the mentality is like, well, we're doing it because we've got to get this done. And you're running on the adrenaline and your drive and all that stuff. But at the same time, at any point in time, we could leave. Like if we wanted to leave, we could leave, Sure. We could leave, or we could run down and get some snacks, and we've all worked on cars and got to that point. You're like, oh man, I wanted to have this finished tonight. I'm not going to be able to, I'm missing a part. I'll go home. I'll, shower. I'll come back in the morning. I'll order that part. And it's probably going to take a couple of days to get it. In this situation, if you got to order a part and you got to wait on it, you're just going to stay locked in the shop.
Yeah. And that's why in the weeks like leading up to that, I went through the car and kind of just like ordered a bunch of stuff for it, kind of made sure that like my bases were covered for like the major components, like a new starter and just some other stuff like that. Made sure those bases were covered because that car is so out of demand, I guess. Like nobody really makes a lot of stuff for it, and all the parts that are available are like, they take a while to get to you. I did my best to make sure that all my bases were covered, and then I had, we had a couple like production assistants that if I needed something from O'Reilly's or whatever, they could go make a run for rubber tube, fuel line or fittings and whatever. But man, yeah, right. So something we didn't cover in the video is the fact that the transmission was like leaking a bunch of fluid when we went for a drive at the end. And so now the car is still at the shop, waiting on an adapter plate for a 727 automatic transmission that my dad already has one up at our house. So we're not quite driving it. We're not dailying it yet, but I'm doing other jobs in the meantime. Yesterday I just lowered it. It looks sweet. I'm just so excited to drive that thing.
That's awesome. Lowering anything.
I have a question for you guys on the note about staying at the shop. So I've never been involved in a SEMA build or anything like that. I don't have any close friends that have done it or anything like that. When SEMA builds come down to the wire, right? Why don't people just start building them a little earlier? Is it like sponsorship? We know when SEMA is happening.
That's a good question, and I've got a great example for how this works. Okay, because it doesn't matter what the deadline is. Like, no matter what, you're going to finish it at the last minute.
It could be SEMA 2029.
So we had a Chevelle, 70 Chevelle that was slated to go to SEMA, and I'm terrible with dates. So Josh, you correct me, but it was right.
Should have been 2020.
2020
pretty sure.
When it was canceled.
Yep.
Right. So it was down to the wire. Like, we are thrashing. We're getting this car there. It's going to go. And then you start catching wind that, well, SEMA's going to be canceled. You know, we've got this whole COVID situation going on. So we pull back the reins and we're like, oh, this is great. Like, we'll have some more time to just kind of button up the details. And this thing's going to be like dialed in. I mean, we're going to have 1,000 miles on it, ready to just hand it over to the customer right after SEMA 2021. Right?
Yep.
No.
So much time. We're going to have SEMA 2021.
No, so right before SEMA, a year later, we're still here at 10 o'clock at night trying to button the car up because you're your own worst enemy. You know, you want it perfect.
Now that we've got this time,
you've got the time. You just keep
Let's add these
chasing
47 other things to it.
Yeah. But in addition to that, I mean, man, it's like SEMA comes fast. So you work your ass off and you're pushing like crazy to get that car done for that SEMA debut. And then you kind of cross the finish line and you don't realize how quick, like right now, I mean, we just got through that major SEMA push and here we are like coming into February and we're already looking at like, shit, we're cutting it close on the car that we're going to be bringing. So if you want to push and you want to make a splash and you want to debut something and do it regularly, you're always going to be thrashing, always down to the wire.
The best way to explain it is we're always, specifically in this industry, and I'm sure everybody is, we're searching for absolute perfection. I'm not meaning close to it. I mean absolute perfection in every single way, which is unobtainable, unattainable. Can't say that word. You can't do it. So that's a better way of saying it, right? So we're searching for that constantly. So, and I know guys in the past that have done it and gotten done early. I know if we were done 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 months early, say we said the car was done, right? It's finished. You've got however much time it is to look at it, right? And again, the mind is always searching for perfection. So you're going to be like,
that could be better.
That bumper, that thing could fit a little bit better. I know we've got the time, so let's try to, now knowing this, we've got a little bit of time. Let's redo the bracket this way or whatever it is. It could be something super simple of what you're searching. I mean, it could be the way one individual wire is loomed and routed. Now fixing that means pulling the whole front fenders off, inner fenders out, re-looming, something like that. And in the meantime, while you're searching for that perfection, you fuck up 3 more things.
Yes.
Because you've taken it apart. Okay. And now you've just pushed yourself, holy shit, are we going to ever fucking make it? And then you're kicking yourself in the ass for even touching it in the first place. Yeah. That's just what happens.
Yeah.
But you've got like totally different styles of cars. Like for us, we're not building a SEMA car, we would call it. We're building a super high-end vehicle that it just happens to be debuting at SEMA because it's a phenomenal launch pad. But what I don't understand is the guys who are building like what you would call a SEMA truck. Right. And I think that largely.
What kind of truck would that be?
Like brodozer-ish.
But describe I'm not going to go into describe it in detail.
We're working on getting those subscribers. So we don't want to lose the subscribers. We want to gain the subscribers. But those are the things that you like. There's sponsorships. Like somebody oh man, I'm going to hook up. I'm going to reach out to this stereo company. I'm going to reach out to this wheel company. So I think people they write a check that their ass can't cash a lot of times.
Sure.
And it's like, oh shit, I'm getting like $10,000 worth of wheels and tires and I'm getting this stereo and these guys are giving me paint.
Right.
So fuck, SEMA's in like 2 weeks. And people do some dumb stuff to, that's when cars are going there with like no drive shafts and the paint's still gassing out.
A lot of that times is budget oriented too. I mean, a guy, like you said, he's working with 4 or 5 different sponsors. His ass is, he's writing a check. His ass can't cash. It comes down to the thing. You're going to either beg, borrow, steal for all of the parts from all the sponsors. Then every dollar you've got is going to generally go into another part or something to make the build in your mind that much cooler. And you've never taken into account how much time it would take to put it together or any labor to pay anybody. So now you're doing it yourself, which you can't do it as good as what you thought you were going to be able to, or in the time you thought you were going to be able to. And now you're getting all your friends to help. And then you just kind of fall short or, that's why it doesn't have a front drive shaft in it.
That's the long way of saying it fucking doesn't have a front drive shaft.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Okay.
Glad we got there.
So it's just something. It just happens. There's no there is rhyme or reason, but that's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, with y'all don't have like hard set deadlines, but at the same time, you probably know you want to do say a video a week, right? How many times are you down to the wire on editing it when you know you've kind of had the time?
I mean, with this, yeah, exactly. With this video, I mean, for the Chrysler video, we were editing that, I think, like 5 hours before it went live. And we do actually have deadlines, because we have like our brand deals, the ads that are in our videos, like those are most of the time tied to a specific date, that maybe ties into a company's overall promotion that they're doing across the, all different, like an entire campaign. So, some channels, they just upload when they want to, and then others like us, we're really married to those brand deadlines. So, yeah, I guess we're all just scrambling all the time. Doesn't matter the business.
So, talk us through the latest MrBeast video with the rocket cars.
Oh man, that was a crazy experience. Yeah, we really did get contacted with like a month until their shoot date, where it was like, okay, hey, you guys want to do this thing? You got to do it in a month. So immediately we said yes, and then after we said yes, it was like, okay, crap, how are we going to actually do this? Linked up with Matt over there in Chicago, his channel Warp Perception. He did a really great job kind of engineering the jet setup for this F-body Firebird. Man, I really wish in that video that there was more of the journey of us getting from Chicago to North Carolina. Something that was entirely left out was the fact that we were towing. Not only were we hauling the car itself with our a dually, Dodge Ram 3500 that we had borrowed, but we were also periodically towing Matt's Tesla behind us, because on his channel he built a Tesla that doesn't need to be charged. It has a generator in the back, and that's how it generates electricity. And to the point where like he actually can't plug in to charge the car; it has to be generated. So what we would do is flat tow the car, and he would use the regenerative braking to charge the car up. So that added a fair amount of time to our journey, because we couldn't go that fast towing a 4,000-pound Tesla behind our tow rig. So that added a lot of time. We did not get, we slept for maybe 2 hours on that 22-hour drive out there. It was wild, but it was a lot of stress. Very stressful situation, trying to make sure that this thing would happen. We wanted to, when you're working with a huge channel like MrBeast, they've got very high expectations, because we said we would be able to do it. Matt said he would be able to get the car going, and we finally executed it. But it was a lot of fun. We were out in Chicago beforehand for 3 or 4 days. It was really awesome to be in his shop, helping him wire up all the jet engines and testing those. And I don't even know where he got these engines, because they had their own little kind of electronic control units for each one. It was awesome to like get those wired together and have them all sync up.
Amazon,
and he's just in the
Amazon,
Alibaba.
He was just, it's so funny because all of his neighbors know that he's like a mad scientist. He is literally just like the closest thing I've ever met to a true mad scientist. He's just in his garage at 10 o'clock at night. We're firing up those jets the first time, testing them out. It was a lot of fun. It's freezing out there. Remember that. That was back in October when it was when Chicago starts to get really cold. It was a really great time, and just seeing, or not really seeing, but because I had, first person perspective goggles on, so I wasn't watching the car go off the ramp. I had the driver's seat view of the car going off the ramp, flying into those buses. It was a really surreal feeling, but also one of immense relief, because it was like, okay, my entire job was just to get the car off the ramp, and we did it. So now I can breathe a sigh of relief. And afterwards we went out to a sports bar and had a few beers and drinks. It was great. Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. It beats a real job at the end of the day.
Yes, it does.
I was going to say, we always joke, we're living the dream, building the hot rods. Like, you're just fucking around doing whatever you want, like jumping jet cars and drifting. And
it's probably the same thing from the outside looking in. like everybody looks at the hot rod industry and you're like, oh, they're just doing what they love. So it's all fun and games. I'm sure it's the same deal. We're looking at these YouTube dudes like doing this. We're like, oh, fuck, they just get to fuck around and do cool shit. That's what we should be doing. That's living the dream.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you've got
working their ass off.
You've got metrics to meet. You've got a customer, or an advertiser to make happy, and you still, it's not just all fun and games. It's fun.
Yeah.
But it's
I mean, I won't front or anything. It's a lot of fun, and I've done a lot of I've got to do a lot of really cool stuff, and every day I wake up and I'm like, thank you. Thank you very much. This is amazing. But yeah, like you said, there are there's like a lot of other sides to it. Like, I mean, just that shoot itself should have been really fun, but it was very stressful just because we did actually have a real expectation to meet. And yeah, there's a lot of boring stuff on the behind the scenes that goes on. But that being said, I really love it, and I'm the luckiest guy in the world to be able to do this kind of stuff.
How's the MrBeast dude in person?
He's a lot taller, first of all, than I expected. No, he's pretty cool. He was really nice, and just very he's doing so much stuff all the time that he showed up on set, said hello. We kind of shot what we needed from him, and then he immediately went back to his car and was on a business call or whatever. And then whenever we had a new setup to shoot, he was just going back and forth between doing his business and shooting. It was really interesting to see because apparently they just have at least 5 projects going on at all times that him and his crew, the other cast members on his channel, they're just shuttling between all these different shoots all week, which is crazy because I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done. I'm about to drive a jet car off these ramps. I've got my team with me. I got my boys with me. We are all super pumped on this. But then these guys show up, and it's this is just another shoot for them. It was really bizarre in that way. But no, they were cool. Yeah.
Yeah, my son is 8, and about a year ago he asked, he goes, Dad, do you build any cars for any famous people, like YouTubers? I'm like, dude, we built some pretty high-end fancy cars. I don't know if there's a lot of YouTubers out there. He's like, well, MrBeast is a millionaire. Like, I'm sure he is. Then I got on the Google machine. I'm like, oh, fuck, we got to get a hold of MrBeast.
Yeah, that's definitely a viable living to be
It's
made.
wild,
It's
man.
crazy.
Yeah, anyway, so all the cool shit you're doing, to piggyback off that, what's car-wise, what's the coolest car, either car you've driven or cool car thing where you're obviously take the jumping a jet powered car out of the equation, but you behind the wheel where you're like, holy fucking shit, this is awesome. I wonder, I hope I don't get caught because
not necessarily behind the wheel. I'll think of another one for that, but a couple years ago, I think it was 2019, the Long Beach Grand Prix was in town, and we were working with Honda, and I was able to do a lap in the two-seater Indy car around Long Beach with Mario Andretti. And, the whole time I was thinking oh my God, this is just incredible. And that's actually something that you could pay to do. They do that at a lot of IndyCar tracks.
With Mario Andretti behind the wheel?
I'm not sure if Andretti is always available, but he's available.
I feel like that's a little special.
Yeah.
That
awesome.
was really amazing. That's definitely one of the top coolest things, I think. Definitely jet car. Behind the wheel, I think the first time we did the first HiLow trip that we took, we have a show HiLow where we build 2 cars, one with super cheap parts and one with really expensive parts. The first season we did of that was with Nissan 350Zs, and Low Car, the car that I helped build, had one of the sketchiest cheap turbo setups ever. Well, not ever, but it was not good. And we're just praying for the car to hold together. We drove it from our base in LA out to Sandia Raceway in New Mexico. Met up with our buddy Dan, Officer Dan Brockett. But that was also a very stressful trip. We broke down a lot. High car, the expensive car, broke down a lot. But looking back, it was one of those experiences where you're just like, this is one of the coolest things ever. Like, what an adventure. Kind of another similar thing. The only time I've been to SEMA is we did a similar trip. We drove from our office to Vegas with a few stops on the way with some Dodge products. We had a Durango SRT, a Hellcat Charger, and a Red Eye Challenger. And we stopped at a dry lake bed outside of Henderson and did like a drag race between all three cars. Of course, the all-wheel drive Durango SRT won, but it was just like a moment where that was just so cool. And it was like public land too. So there's like in the distance, like guys in like dune buggies and dirt bikes riding around, people camping on the lake bed. But
is that where we?
Some guy in like not a hang glider, but like one of those
yeah, right outside of Henderson with it looks like the like you said Bonneville, but it's all dirt. Yeah, we did some fucking around out there and
that's
video. Yeah,
super cool.
It's weird. Like you said, it's like being on Mars.
Yeah,
it's a cool place.
It was like talking about Bonneville or like being on Mars. Like, I really wish it did not get rained out this year. This wasn't related to Donut. My dad's been working on a Bonneville Roadster for a few years now, and we're finally going to take it out. But like your first time stepping out on the salt, you're just like, you get it. You're like, oh, I understand why people come back here. You know, just what a special place.
What's your dad building?
Wild.
So it was a C-Gas class Roadster. So I think it was a 32 style body with a Chevy small block. So C-Gas or American Iron Roadster. It has to conform to certain engine size. We were going to take that out for the first time. I was going to be driving it, but rained out. So we're going to try to take that out next year. And then he has his eyes on designing a streamliner. That's what he wants to do in his retirement. So yeah, should be fun.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of speed are you looking at of the 32?
So we were aiming for, we think it's capable of 200 because it hit, I think in its previous configuration with a smaller engine, I think it was able to get up into the low 190s or mid 190s, I'm pretty sure. So we think it can definitely get up into 200. And that's something I really want to get into. I want to get into the 200 mile per hour club.
Yeah.
Of course, very exclusive nowadays. But that's a goal of mine. A life goal of mine is to get into that club. It'd be amazing to go 300 someday, maybe in a Streamliner or some other car. But yeah.
What's George's record? Where'd Poteet end up?
Close to that.
Yeah, it was well, he had trap speed of like 470, I think, but I think his the record is like 456 or 4 something.
It's moving.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it's absolutely
incredible.
Stupid. Absolutely stupid. That's it. I think it just takes a different.
And that's the piston record, right?
Yeah, piston driven, wheel driven. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's just nuts.
The car videos and all that stuff's all rad. Honestly, the thing that grabbed my attention the most was when you were reviewing all the like TV infomercial tools. That one caught me, and I like migrated to that because I'm like, oh fuck, I've always wanted to like screw around with like the Ding King, or like to show that like this shit doesn't work,
Yeah.
The Gator grip socket.
Yeah, we love testing those kind of products.
Yeah, I was cracking up. It seemed like unanimously, it's all like, yeah, this stuff doesn't work.
Yeah, I just saw one the other day. They did. It was an older video. I was just scrolling through. They did they bought the like most illegal car things off of Amazon or whatever. It was like the blue and red lights from the forward face with a siren and all that stuff.
What's the think tank like? Who's generating the ideas, and how many of the ideas like don't materialize?
So yeah, we all kind of gather every week or every other week and pitch ideas. Hey, like like the locking myself in the garage until I fix my car. Usually like we'll have like a topic that we want to cover, but also you got to come in with like, okay, what's like the take, like what's the angle on this? How are we going to get people in the door? It's a very collaborative process. When we're doing HiLow and stuff, we kind of we try to make as many of those meetings as we can. Not to get too inside baseball, but yeah, it's very collaborative, and anybody in the company can also kind of pitch if they think they have like a good idea. They're totally free to pitch it, and
You've done, I know y'all as a whole have done a lot of videos about like current events, and you've talked about like new car prices, you know, all the super hypercars being abandoned in Dubai and, you know, stuff like that. What, out of all those stories, what's the one that stood out where you're like, there's no fucking way, or where it hits you, you're like, dude, this is everybody needs to know about this. This is ridiculous.
Man, there's so many. I think at Wheelhouse alone, we did over 200 videos. You know, I think the supercar, ironically, the one about the supercars abandoned in the Dubai desert is a very interesting, one of my favorite videos that we've done. Because that's something you just see pictures of online all the time, and you're like, you kind of have like a imaginary thing or like a theory as to how that happened, but then never really explore it further. Or stories like the Sultan of Brunei. You know, he's the guy over there in the like South Pacific, not South Pacific. Where is Brunei? Somewhere over there. You know, has amassed this huge car collection worth over $1 billion, like thousands of cars, blah, blah, blah. But they're all being left to rot in these garages because they're not being like cared for at all. And that's another story that we've read online over the years. But like we've covered that in video form and in podcast form, and just exploring their stories and seeing that it is legit. Like these people there are people out there that just sit on these cars and let them rot in a mass capacity, you know, is pretty unreal. And there's not really much you can do about it, you know.
Is there any of those that you started doing your digging and your web sleuthing and you're calling around and you quickly realize like we got to stop asking questions. We're going down a wrong path here.
Not necessarily. No. Actually, you know what? There was one video. It was about the murder of what's his first name? Well, Gambala, the guy who customized the Porsches and BMWs. He was murdered because he owed like this arms dealer money or something like that. He got assassinated in, I believe, it was South Africa when he was visiting there. And as I'm reading the script, I like say this he's like some Eastern European, like real bad dude, arms dealer. And I'm like saying his name. And then I'm like, oh yeah, this guy, you know, he was sentenced to 25 years in prison. And I'm like, I like sat there for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, like 25. So there's a limit on how much time he's in prison. You know?
he's getting out.
Yeah.
You paint him pretty good in the story to.
You got that one on your calendar too, like when you had to call Donut Media back.
Yeah.
Often misunderstood arms dealer.
Yeah. So that was that. I think that's one of the only times where I've been like, I said that, didn't I? And that's kind of key to the story, that we say this guy's name and mention what his profession is and all that. So, you know, maybe he's been reformed over his time in the clink. Who knows? But that's the first one that comes to mind. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the future look like for Donut Media? What's new on the horizon? What's your what are everybody setting their sights on?
Well, we're trying to just always trying to come with more big ideas. Obviously, we want to do more season the HiLow, of course. That's like our favorite show to shoot, but we also want to branch out and try some more other things. You know, after doing this video with the Chrysler, myself, I do want to try more of these like kind of endurance and wrenching challenges that we can think of. I kind of, you know, over my years here at Donut, like I kind of have become part of a recurring theme is my own personal suffering when applied to cars. So more of that kind of stuff. You know, we're on the podcast side, you know, we launched a Formula One podcast last year called DRS, Donut Racing Show. We are going weekly this year once the season starts. So that'll be a big change. That'll add more to my schedule, but I'm really excited for that. You know, and I really want to refocus on last year. I was involved in so many shoots that I didn't feel like I was involved enough in the brainstorming side of things. So now this year I really want to refocus and, be more creative, have more ideas. Because I remember when I was like an intern, when I first started out, it's like, man, I felt like I had so many ideas, so many things that I felt like I could offer. And then once I got hired, it felt like that. Once I got into the routine of like, okay, I have to write this week, got to do this week, that it was harder to come up with ideas when you're kind of like in the thick of things, So that's something I want to focus on, is being more creative and taking this chance that I have and seeing just how far we can push it. And I feel like a lot of us at Donut, everyone at Donut feels the same way. It's like we have this unique opportunity to make cool car stuff that we want to do. So what does that look like,
Dude, I've got an idea for you. And now I know this is, I know you know, this is just like telling a comedian, I've got a joke for you, right? And I'm sure you love, morons like me giving you, creative ideas. But
guy walks into a bar.
There's a good tie in here. You asked about the SEMA builds and finishing them in time. We've always joked, right, about getting a car done. And if we don't get it done, we'll just finish it in the trailer on the way out to SEMA.
Dude.
So
that's pretty good.
I think we need to be just a little short, maybe make a day and a half short on finishing something and see if you can finish it up in the trailer on the ride to SEMA.
That's pretty hilarious. You got to keep that one for yourself. That is hilarious.
Have you ever looked at like the camera of
inside a trailer?
Oh,
dude, it's like,
have you ever been in a trailer?
Yeah, I've been in a trailer just
violent.
like through like low speeds, right? Yeah, it's like a.
Remember what happened? What was it on Yellowstone, the first season or whatever?
Yeah,
through those two guys in the trailer, they didn't fucking make it.
It's TV, though,
I guarantee you it would be
real, dude.
fucking violent back there.
Oh, absolutely, it would.
That'd be cool YouTube content.
Yeah, people like to see that stuff.
He was like, "This dude doesn't know what he's talking about." He heard that idea. He's like, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I could tell. I could see it in his eyes. Oh
yeah, finishing our SEMA build. Finishing our SEMA build on the road. You really got to hit the fact that you're in motion inside the trailer. Right.
Just get one of those with the glass
would
sides.
Definitely have to do a lot of work for that, but that's really funny. Yeah.
You could do it on
I hope
you could do a rollback and just do it like a clear box. That way you could also film it from the outside on the road.
Have cars driving with a camera mounted the hood.
Yeah.
Jacking that thing up, putting it on some jack stands. So you're going down I-65.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. You know what else would be great? We seem to get some pretty good feedback every time the like horrible late 80s, early 90s cars come into conversation. The Ford Probe, the Beretta, the Sunfire.
People love that talk.
People seem to dig that stuff. Have you guys done anything with that era of just shit cars?
Sort of. Every once in a while, we do buy like a new car that we're gonna just inevitably destroy. Basically, we had it was an old Buick, 4-door Buick sedan with like the 3800 engine. That's what we did, like the pig's blood oil swap on. It got its roof cut off. Well, yeah, we used the jaws of life. I'm holding this paintbrush, clapping. We used the jaws of life on it, cut the doors off, cut the roof off. If we need a car that's like gonna just get totally beat up, we're usually like, that's the era of car we're choosing. We bought a Chrysler Sebring convertible.
Oh yeah.
We drove that like over parking curbs and stuff at speed, just like test wheels and stuff, test the strength of wheels. And then eventually, you mentioned SEMA truck. This guy built a 6x6, like huge lifted truck, and he drove over it. We just destroy those things basically.
We had to do some type of competition wise with like, let us find like another one or two, prominent hot rod builders and
compete.
You find one or two other, YouTube channel content creators, stuff like that. And let's do some type of where that, has to make a road rally. You got to build something, a certain amount of budget, and compete.
Yeah. Who can build the coolest $100,000 Pontiac Sunfire? Yeah. How about that? Yeah.
Dude. I mean, taking that era car, the stuff that had the performance twist on it, though, you know, like there was the Probe GT.
Oh,
right? There were so many things of that era
Z24
that they had no business having any sort of performance, anything.
Right.
But they marketed them as there was always like a little twist, a little rocker molding and a sticker.
Yeah. You
and it was a race car.
pick a year range, you know, and a total budget or something like that.
Yeah.
Say it's, you know, 92 to 96 or something like that. And yeah, most horsepower for the budget. And then it's got to compete against, you know, we got to do a point A to point B. Then you've got, you know, maybe a little off-road challenge, a little slalom course and some stuff that's got to be done. That'd be fucking fun.
I'm in. Set it up.
You going with the LeBaron?
It's a little, I feel like that's weighted for a victory, you know, with you're already starting.
You're bringing in a ringer.
Yeah, you're already starting with like a pretty high performance vehicle, so it's not that like out of the realm for that to work really fucking good, you know, and do spectacular things.
You remember that they did a Ford Escort GT back in the day with the ground effects and stuff?
Yeah.
You put GT behind Escort.
Yeah, Escorts did some good stuff though. I mean,
Not in America.
No, not in America. They did nothing good in America.
Oh man, it's been awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Glad you could come on and hang out.
Hey, thank you very much. It's fun talking to you guys.
We appreciate it, man.
Absolutely.
Look forward to following your success and seeing everything you guys are doing.
If you're out in the Midwest Chicago area, man, give us a shout. Come by, check out the shop.
Sure thing.
Maybe we can do some
I
stuff
would love
together.
to. Yeah, I checked out a few of your videos and saw you guys' shop, and I was like, oh man, I gotta check that out.
Favorite car movie and why?
Ooh. Dang, that's a pretentious pick that first came into my mind.
Do it.
It's not even my fit. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know if people say this one very often. I'll say Le Mans is a very good one with Steve McQueen, where they, you know, filmed all the real race cars. That one, it's pretty long and has some weird directing choices, but I think that's definitely worth a watch, you know, instead of Fast and Furious, your standard Fast and Furious pick, I guess.
Yeah, it comes up.
We've only got a few Fast and Furious, maybe 3 or 4 from last season. It's mostly you get. I think Ford versus Ferrari was like number 2 or number 3. Then Gone in 60 Seconds was a surprising 2, and then I think American Graffiti is number 1 by far. Yeah. Just interesting. The people that you would think would go in one direction and don't go. That is a good. It is pretentious pick, but it's a good one.
It is pretentious. I'm not gonna even try to.
Especially with the pronunciation on there as well. Just
Le Mans.
Well, that's that F1 podcast coming out in it.
It truly is.
Was that just to get press passes for the Vegas race?
No. Oh man, I was just in Vegas, and they have billboards and like screens for that all over the place, and I don't think there's a chance of us even getting any sort of access for that. Yeah.
It's it seems like it was locked up.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool.
You could probably get a room at Hooters Casino.
Yeah, but probably doesn't go right past
at the Taco Bell Cantina.
Yeah. You don't think that's like right there on the main drag?
I doubt it. No, I think it's a little. It's just off the strip, isn't it? Hooters.
It's just off the strip. Yeah. Next up, best piece of advice that you've ever received.
One summer I worked in my buddy Mike Porter's hot rod shop, and the first day I was there, he's like, "Hey, you need I was helping him, I think attach a fender to a 33 Ford, and I was like, I don't know how to do this." And he's like, "Just fuck with it." I was like, "Just fuck with it." He's like, "Yeah, just fuck with it. Just do it until you got it, you know?" And that's kind of stuck with me over the years. It's like, I'm kind of I'm the kind of person that I used to really I'll try something for 5 minutes, and if I wasn't immediately good at it, I just stopped. And it's taken me a long time to try to break that habit, because you're not going to be immediately good at anything. So if there's something you want to pursue, but you're not good at it yet, just fuck with it until you are good with it or good at it.
It's good advice. Yeah, I got kind of the same problem. I'm the same.
Sorry to be vulgar, but
Yeah, dude. You're not going anywhere that hasn't been gone before. I was actually gonna say that's good advice to give my wife. I'm gonna tell her
Way to double down.
Just fuck with it. You'll figure it out. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what vulgar sounds like.
If you could go back in time to any point in time, what time would it be, and what would you tell yourself?
Oh man.
I think Josh's would be, don't say that.
I like that.
They can cut it out.
Yeah, I know.
It was funny though.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Man, I don't know. There's like, I think about that sometimes. It's like, I feel like I wouldn't change a lot. I think this is so schmaltzy, but like, I feel I would tell myself, my younger self, just to spend more time with my grandparents, that's kind of the only thing that sticks out to me. There was like, I just wish I could have spent more time with them, even though all of them did live pretty long lives, and I was able to know them until my like late teens. It's just like, that's important to me. I wish I could have. Yeah, I feel like things otherwise, like I like where I'm at right now. So even though there were some major faults along the way, I got here. So I don't know if I would change anything.
Nice.
It was good. Yeah, usually the right answer is not to change anything. But on the grandparents thing,
Yeah.
it is interesting. I would have liked to spend more time, but I specifically would have liked to have asked more questions about the stuff that I didn't give a shit about back then. But stuff now, there's like books of stuff. I'm like, what happened here? What about this? Where were you at when this happened?
Yeah.
Especially when you think back about it, our grandparents' age and the era they were growing up with and how much different things were.
Yeah, dude, there were fucking dinosaurs around when your grandparents were. Because you're old.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Yes, they must have been super old as well.
Yeah, that's where I was getting at.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Yeah. You have to tell the punchline. It's not really that funny.
I disagree. I think it adds to it.
But yeah, I mean, seriously, there's so many more questions that you would know at this age, stuff that you're like more respectful of or into.
Yeah,
or
that's the problem. You didn't know at the age when you had the ability to ask those questions. You weren't in the mindset to ask.
Give a shit about that. What am I getting for Christmas?
Yeah.
When are we going to the store?
Yeah.
Some dumb stuff like
Right.
that.
Why the fuck did Phil get a Donzi and I got a savings bond? Like those are the things that you
Does
ask.
that come from your grandparents?
Yeah. Let's keep going. So I'm going to get emotional. So
there's a lot of things you'd like to ask your all right. What's the last but not least? What's in your pockets? You got to do a pocket dump.
Oh, in my pockets, right? Nothing. I got home and I got into my sweatpants and I got nothing in there.
Okay. Well, that's kind of a waste of time. So because you didn't have anything in your pocket, we got to do we don't have shots, but we're going to take a shot. We're going to take a shot on one question. So sometimes we do this thing where it's called taking shots. So last year we had to sponsor Stillhouse Whiskey. We did taking shots with Stillhouse. We had a guest on. We would ask them a question before they answered, or even if they did answer, we would give our own more truthful answer to that. So I'm going with daily driver. That's the question, right? We're going to ask you what your daily driver is. What? Don't tell us.
Well, you're based in California.
He's based in California. What you are, hold on, 29. What's your age?
Yes.
We're starting the night off. Starting the night off pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. So he's 29 years old. You were born and raised in Southern California?
I was born and raised in Central California. Yeah.
Okay. Central California. He's in Southern California now.
Yeah.
You've been with Donut Media, what, 5 years, 6 years?
5 years. It'll be 6 years this year. Yeah.
Is it coming to you?
Yeah, I've got it. It could be completely wrong.
I got something. I got something I'm rolling around. It's an oddball. It's out there. It's random, but
mine's way out there.
Yeah. I think I got it.
I don't know the exact year that I've got in my head, but it's you remember when they did the 2-door Explorer?
Yeah. They also did the Mazda Navajo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And the same model.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Right.
with you.
You're guessing my daily driver.
Yes, we're just guessing your daily driver.
Okay.
Right. Everybody's gonna have a guess. I'm guessing it's the 2-door Explorer, like blue or green with the tan fender flares and stuff like that.
Eddie Bauer edition.
I don't know if they did Eddie Bauer in the 2-door, but it's
that era.
Yeah.
I don't know where you're. I don't think we're aligned on that. I don't know where you're going with
that was my guess.
I've got some theory behind mine. Usually I like to come up with something that's like ironic, eccentric. There's something funny or cool about it. But honestly, I think you're into cars. You've got project cars, but you're like
sensible.
Yeah, you need something sensible. So I just need, it's transportation. I got to get to work. No, I got to get to work, but I got to throw some shit in the back. Right. And I know
the same page where I'm going.
Yeah, I know Toyota is a great brand. I mean, they run forever, right? It's quality stuff. It's a Toyota Tacoma, mid 2000s.
Camper shell or no camper shell?
No, just mid 2000s Tacoma.
Extended cab?
Yeah, I think it's an extended cab, but it's just a pickup truck.
What color?
I'm seeing white, like a lighter color.
When you're describing, I saw silver, but
lighter color.
All right, what do you got, Phil?
I'm gonna go wild card. Volvo 740 station wagon.
Oh, from the pretentious earlier.
Shit, Phil's just throwing insults over here.
No, it's got like some Sparco wheels on it.
It's a Volvo.
So it's modded.
Yeah, modded out a little bit. The 740, that's the big motor.
All right.
You guys had all very inspired guests, and now I'm considering all those. Those would all be great. But my daily driver is a 2006 Mustang GT.
Huh.
Man, didn't see that.
Yep.
Did not see that at all.
Is that stock? Convertible? What do we?
Convertible. Okay.
It's a coupe, not a convertible. I've got a coilovers, sway bars. It's got NK MT03 wheels on it. I'm rolling on Nitto tire. It's set up for autocross right now. So it's actually not the best street car. It's pretty stiff.
How does that leave cruise nights?
Orderly, you know.
Orderly. Yeah, we're losing our touch, man. Because on it, like
I didn't see it. I still don't see it after he said it.
Well, where we veered off track here is that at 29, you could still make that decision to I'm going to drive the car on like 1,500-pound coilovers. You know, just the most rigid because it's just I don't give a fuck.
I'm getting a little tired of it, to be honest. It's pretty stiff. My girlfriend, she has a 2002 Lexus. The LS, the 430, the big sedan.
Yeah.
And any chance we get, if we're going anywhere, we're taking that, because it's so much better. It's just as a road trip.
So you never like when you sell the Mustang, or you're like, fuck, I'll just grab like a Tacoma. Just
honestly, your guess was actually pretty spot on because like we actually built Tacomas of that era for HiLow 2 years ago now, and I approached my boss and I was like, "Hey, can I buy this?"
Okay, we're redeemed.
So I would definitely
not a total loss.
You're definitely on track because if given the opportunity, I would buy that car and daily drive it. Yeah,
it's a win. I'll take it.
So
it's a win. Awesome,
the
man.
Volvo. I don't know.
Yeah, fuck you, Phil.
Yeah, Phil's trying to be a dickhead. Oh. Nolan, it was fun.
Yeah, super cool, man.
Had a good time.
This is great. Yeah, me too. This is awesome. Thank you guys very much.
Let us know if you ever need anything or if you're out here in the Chicago area. You need to do SEMA again, man. You need to do SEMA next year.
Yeah, that'd be great.
We might be doing a big party next year. We need to hook up, have you guys out there.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
Learn the hot rod side of things out there at the SEMA show.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. If I make it, I'll definitely link up with you guys.
Come hang out with all the carnies.
Yeah, all the carnies. Trophy chasers.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
dude.
it.
Thanks,
all right.
Take it easy.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It's time for listener questions.
Okay, I'm ready.
That's sounded
dude, I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Now we're ready.
Let's do it.
Now we're ready.
We need a Red Bull sponsor.
Think Monster would do it?
Monster, I don't think would sponsor Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I can drink it either.
When I said it, I realized
How fucking stupid you sounded. Because I realized immediately, like right as you opened your mouth, I was like, this is going to be stupid. And lo and behold, it was dumb.
Oh, I thought it was funny. Sorry. Now I know that it's just stupid.
Well, you didn't disappoint, which is nice.
It's time to take some of your listener questions. If you have a question that you want us to butcher on the show, be sure to leave us a DM. That's a direct message. Just wanted you guys to know. On Instagram, at RoadsterShop, or at Oil and Whiskey Podcast. First up, are you guys ready for the first question?
I'm ready.
I'm about to read it.
Fire away.
I'm going to read it. When I'm done reading it, then
We will
you
answer
it. All right, that's how this thing goes.
Got it.
After helping with the 79 Ford F-150 electric truck last year, are there any plans for more electric vehicles out of the Roadster Shop facility? Question mark. End sentence.
Yeah,
Don't tiptoe.
I don't want to be disrespectful. And we've talked a lot about electric stuff.
With all due respect.
With all due respect. I'm right now, currently, maybe, I'm not super stoked about it in the aftermarket because it's just not there. It's not there yet. So when it is,
more of an availability issue.
Exactly. We have things in the works. We have things like queued up, engineered, ready to rock. They require parts, pieces, items that need to be made in the electric aftermarket. And when those things are available, we will have products available. So I dig it to some extent. I'll say it again. It's right in the right application, but I'm losing the spark. You know? You with me?
Well, it's electric. They don't have any spark. So that's where you're
fucking damn.
That's where you're fucked up. That's the problem.
You can make it spark though.
Yeah. You and I
cross the wires.
You connected wrong.
You and I are going to fight.
What?
We're going to fight, dude.
You would be disappointed had I not said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a soft.
Well played. Did I answer that right? I mean,
yeah.
what?
Maybe would have sufficed, but
yeah.
Okay.
I get where you're coming from.
I came with the short and sweet. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a very well answered question.
Okay.
You did a good job.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, it's gold star for you on the first question.
I appreciate that.
That's Jeremy gold star, Phil and Josh 0 gold stars.
Okay, 1 gold star for me. Next up.
What do you think of the 67 Ford Mustang GT500 Eleanor? The price they are reaching at auctions are just silly. Are people now just buying a cheap 67 Mustang and sticking a fiberglass body kit? I think he's meant to say on it, but he says in it, then selling it for $200K? Question mark. Well, if it's going to auction, I can tell you that probably they are.
Depending on the auction.
Right.
And depending on the day it goes during the auction.
Yeah.
I think some of the higher end auctions do a much better job filtering when they go. A Tuesday car versus a Friday, Saturday car. You're going to know the difference.
However, there's the fact that they're saying, hey, I'm selling an Eleanor, right? All they're basically saying is I'm selling a Mustang rebuilt in
Players in silver
in a style to copy a single movie car
That has some sort of serial number. It has some license. There's always something that goes along with it.
Right.
You know? It can never just
little
be
gimmicky.
Well, now it's all out in the open. You know,
It can never
the
be-
lawsuit went through. And
Yeah,
it's
big.
Where did that land?
You can now build Eleanor clones
Okay.
and not get your cars repoed or
Who's
sued.
the fucking asshole that did that?
It was the guy's wife.
yeah, the guy's wife.
He died, who owned the rights to it, and then she went out suing everybody.
Yeah,
If he was still around.
Eleanor was her name.
If he was still around, do you think that would have happened, Josh?
No, he would have. Yeah. Why do you think that?
Let's get back to the car. The Eleanor car, it's hard to not like it. You know, it's been so, I mean, they've been overproduced. But
I don't like it. It's easy for me not to like it.
really?
Mhm.
There's still
If-
something about it that is just cool.
Yeah,
Right?
if done right, they look good, but there's a lot of cheap,
Well,
rush to market kind of get them done because they think there could be
Dude,
some.
East Bay
sale.
did one that was fucking top
Okay.
notch.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Right. So I just proved you wrong. That's another plus. That's 2 gold stars for Jeremy.
That was
0 gold stars for Josh.
That was not an Eleanor. That was a resto mod.
It was a badass Mustang
in an Eleanor
fashion. Right. Yeah. It has. There's cool things about it. The movie was great, dude. I mean, it's it's just it has that same appeal like the 68 Charger from Fast and the Furious. Like, yeah, it's a little cliche, but still is cool. But you need to be very careful with those cars because there are a lot of super duper shitty versions of them. It's an easy car that people know the recipe, that they know visually it appeals. It's going to fetch some money. So
you think they know the recipe? You'd think if they made if they knew the recipe, they'd make the cake a little better. Because it seems like they don't know the recipe.
Okay.
It seems like they know.
They know how to put the frosting on it.
They know some of the ingredients.
Right.
It's just
Let's quit fucking with the cake reference here.
Yeah.
All right, we're not
Maybe
making
you
cakes.
prefer spaghetti and meatballs.
It's better analogy. But you know what I mean?
No, I know.
People know they bring money.
Yep.
So if you can stick the body kit to it, if you can fluff it, if you can make it look like an Eleanor and get it to an auction or get it up for sale, you probably got a 6-figure car there. I mean, just recently I had a guy reach out to me that a guy was trying to trade one in at Motorworks. And, I kind of friend of a friend, he's a salesman there, reaches out to me because it was like the phone a friend, sends me some pictures of it. And I'm like, dude, don't go anywhere near that. Like, it's a mess, huge mess. And you end up with that a lot with those cars.
right.
I'm going in circles here, but
No, I was waiting for
yeah.
the
Oh, you wanted like a big,
and then
and then I'm like, yeah,
you got to finish it. Dude.
It wasn't that cool. But
I think we answered that question.
There's an answer in there. You just got to sift through it a little bit.
Well, I don't think it's a definitive. They just said, "What do you think?" We said what we thought. Next up, who is your dream oil and whiskey guest?
We know Phil's. I know yours.
Mine going to be, you're going with either Eminem or whoever invented the Miata.
No, Eminem. Who invented the Miata? Who cares? Right? Eminem. It's 100% Eminem.
I don't think so.
Yeah. You guys are going to flow some beats together.
Who's mine?
Florida Georgia line dudes. That's easy.
I should not have asked. Fuck. I wasn't even thinking that. We only got one chair.
I think they split up.
Or they sit on each other's laps.
Yes.
100%.
And the gold star goes to Phil. That's really good.
Well played. All right, but seriously, who do you got?
I don't know. I haven't thought about this. The dream guest. I'm really looking forward to Bobby Alloway. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
If we could get Chip Foose completely relaxed and just the story, I would like to ask him a lot of questions. He would probably have a lot of stories.
Oh, I'm sure Chip's got endless stories.
Yeah. Those are two that I'm really looking forward to. Dream guest. Go, Phil. You go.
Drawing a blank. I'm not like really into the whole talking thing and asking a lot of questions, so it's kind of hard for me to have someone that I want to ask a bunch of questions.
Well, who did we put together lists of who we would love to connect with for oil and whiskey. So who are some of the ones that you guys threw out there that you thought were reaching?
Stallone was on there. I think that'd be a cool one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is that your dream?
I don't know if it's, yeah.
It would be a dream guest.
We would talk nothing about cars. It would be all Rocky and Rambo.
Do you remember that?
And then did you remember you had that Lamborghini Jalpa and you start like Apollo died and you start it. That was awesome, dude. It was, oh my God, that was so cool. Yeah. And then you remember that other time? Like you made all that money, but then you lost it all and you threw your helmet at the statue. It was like, did you really do that? Because that was so cool.
That'd be an awesome interview.
Yeah. And he'd be like, who the fuck are these guys?
It's a good one.
It'd be cool. I think
It is a good one.
He's a cool story how he
Yeah.
came from nothing into
The amount of
pretty
times that he
insane career.
pitched that fucking script, that's what's blown me away every time I've heard that story. That's definitely a perseverance story. Eminem,
it's not
Sly,
Waylon for you.
no.
Shooter Jennings. Waylon's,
there you go,
Waylon is the kin of Waylon Jennings.
I
He's
could
his
ask
son.
him some questions. Yeah, I'd have some questions to ask him.
Like
for
what?
sure.
Like, let's role play. I'm Shooter Jennings.
That
Oh,
sucks.
hey, Shooter.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's going all right.
All right. Let me ask you something. Now, given your dad's talent and overwhelming success,
Hey, Waylon.
why weren't you better? I'll wait.
Yeah. That's hurtful, dude. That's
yeah.
hurtful.
No, Shooter wouldn't be on there on the list.
Dale Jr. Jr.
You know who would be a fun one?
Who's that?
Oh, Dale Jr. would be a now that's
Yeah, Dale Jr.
Dale Jr. Jr.
Dale Jr. would be my you're right. That's a good one. That'd be a fucking awesome one. I was gonna say Dak Shepard. I think would be a good interview.
Yeah.
He's a car guy.
Yeah, he
lived
messes
a
with
crazy life.
He messes with some motorsport stuff.
Yeah. But Dale Jr. for sure. That would be my Stallone. Dale Jr.
Evil Knievel.
Are you gonna bring him back from the fucking dead, Phil?
Didn't say.
I think it was just assumed.
Who is your dream oil and whiskey guest?
Yeah, but I think we need to ask him questions. Not just
All right, we'll get the fucking Ouija board out. We'll all, get together.
All right. Next up, I enjoy wiring vehicles. I'm getting ready to wire another vehicle, and I'm curious as to your opinion on how to connect wires. You're going to take this end and this end. And
Scotch lock 'em.
That's what I was going to say.
I was going to say Scotch lock. You took it.
Stick those suckers together and grab yourself a 3M Scotch lock and snap.
Do you prefer solder or crimp when connected?
Wire nuts.
Yeah, it's.
You got to get the proper size of it.
What do you think, Josh?
It all
Get techie?
I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. Everybody's got a way of doing it. You got an argument against both. Solder is the better way to do it.
Are you pronouncing the L?
No, solder.
Okay.
Solder.
You're just kind of barely like, I'm just picking up a tiny bit of that silent L in there. Solder.
I fucking hate you. I'm just solder.
Okay.
Solder them.
Okay.
Solder.
Yeah.
You know what the fuck I'm saying, right?
I got
It's
it.
not crimp.
Hey, you're not
It's the other one.
You're not. Don't worry about me. You're talking. You're answering the question. Look
All
at the camera.
Uh,
Look at the camera and answer the
So-
question.
yeah. Soldering them would be probably my first. But there's always going to be a time that crimping is necessitated or a better option or an acceptable option.
You'd probably. This is a question that probably shouldn't be answered by us. I'm not the electrical guy. I could run some wires. I can do some stuff. I can wire some stuff, but it's typically like a non-insulated crimp connector on general, smaller gauge wires with heat shrink over the top.
Over it.
And any of your bigger battery connections, big ring terminals, things like that, it's a crimp, but you're soldering it in addition to that. But I would say that's a question. Hit up Miranda Built or Miranda Marine. Send that one right into his DMs. That's the wiring dude.
Good answer.
Yeah, if you really want the answer, that's where you're going to get it.
What do you think, Phil?
Yep.
However, is the correct and most efficient way.
Is the way
That
to
sounds
do it.
good. Yeah.
Next up, what do you think are the next trending era classics? ? Love the show. I look forward to it every week. Well, I apologize because you sound like you've got a pretty boring life.
How do you insult someone who?
Good grief. Gosh. We just got done doing a podcast.
We're just
about
not very good.
subscribers.
We're not very good. If somebody's looking forward to us, then it makes me feel a little sad. But I'm super happy that they are.
Yeah. The next trending era classics, I think we're all pretty much in agree. We've talked about this a bunch. It's like split. I feel like you've got
Probe GT.
no. Your classic 4-wheel drive stuff, it's here. You know, it's not next, it's now.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is booming. 70s, even into the 80s, pickup trucks, Blazers, Broncos, all that stuff it's going. But I think you're going to see more of the, we're dabbling into the G body stuff. The IROCs people are kind of like tiptoeing into them. You're going to see the Fox bodies. I think it's coming. It's going to be just like when these things happen, they happen. It was like the trucks. It's not like they weren't being sprinkled out and it's like, oh, maybe this is going to happen. It could happen. This might be. It was just like, here it is. Boom. This is the trend. So,
I agree. I'm with you. I think there's my problem. The Fox bodies.
You got a lot of problems.
No.
So what?
No, I'm not.
It's going to be a long show.
No, the Fox bodies and IROCs should absolutely be the thing, and they will be. They're just never going to be as hot as they should be because of the plastic. That's difficult cars to build.
In metal, it attracts a lot more heat, especially in the sun. And the plastic kind of like absorbs it. It doesn't get hot to the touch.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying is they're like restoring the car.
You're saying they're never going to be hot.
Oh, I get you. I get you. The plastic bumpers on them makes it that much more difficult, specifically on the IROC stuff and all that. I mean, good grief,
half the car's plastic.
Half the car's plastic.
Modify, customize, change anything.
Not saying that they're not going to be, and I wish they were. I think that's the major hurdle unless somebody really steps up to the plate and does, some alternative to those parts. Those are difficult cars to build in comparison to, a Camaro or a Firebird or, a previous era Mustang.
I think the trucks in themselves, though, if you look at like the last trend that was huge, pro touring muscle cars, that spanned for like 15 years probably, right?
Yeah.
And we are in like call it year one.
Uno.
Yeah. Of the trucks.
You got a long run.
It's coming on. They're going to run for a while.
I think a lot of it also kind of stems from what's cheap and affordable to start with.
Which is nothing right now.
Well, the trucks, that's where they
Cheaper.
were.
Yeah.
When it got into all the patina lowered stuff, it's an easier barrier of entry.
Right.
You can spend the money on the other things, not buying a $50,000, $60,000 '69 Camaro to start with that blows half your budget.
What do you think about OBS Fords?
I wonder why they're not getting the love.
It's the same thing with the 67 to 72 F100s and later ones. They're good looking trucks, just nobody seems to build them.
Doing a shit ton of chassis in comparison. We're doing a lot.
Yeah, not compared to C10s though. It's still like 10 to 1.
A little bit more than that, but
11 to 1.
with OBS like trucks that you see out there, to OBS Fords, OBS Chevy trucks to OBS Fords.
Yeah.
There's zero.
The OBS Fords seem very difficult to find. I don't know what the deal is. Either they rotted away, or were they more prone? I'm not an OBS Ford expert, but
I think you could do one that looked pretty fucking cool. They had some cool two-tones on them. They had some shit that could be a little more retro inspired or a little cooler for the era than the OBS Chevys.
Yeah, they didn't get super modern.
Yeah. But it was just a question. I didn't have anything behind it. I just wonder.
I hope they
what
do.
The listeners think.
I would hope that people start inquiring, because I don't think we've had, usually a lot of these chassis get kicked off. Unless it's something that we've got the vision for, you get some inquiries on them. I don't believe that we've ever had anything, have we?
No, we get the once a month. I've got a Lightning that I want to put a better chassis underneath. That's really about it.
That's one car on my list. I'll have one day.
Yep. Lightning is cool.
Yeah.
Pro net in the back for the tailgate.
No, tailgate. I just want it original, untouched.
It's a cool car. Truck.
Yeah. All right. Next up, can you each talk about what kind of watches you wear during your next glove box segment? Next time we do a glove box segment,
we absolutely will.
We absolutely will. It's
easy
for me because I don't wear a watch,
and I'll be sure to wear my fancy watch.
Oh, your fancy watch?
And that digital Velcro dealio I got.
Cool. Oh, your 80s out?
Yeah.
maybe if you stay listening, maybe next time on the Glove Box, we'll talk about Jeremy's fancy watch and Phil's everyday watch. Phil doesn't have a fancy watch.
I don't have a Velcro watch. So no, I don't have a fancy watch.
Do you have any thoughts about the knife brands, Chris Reeve or Strider? I don't know Strider. Chris Reeve, I do. And Chris Reeve stuff looks really awesome. I've heard nothing but good things from some of my knife buddies that are in the biz. I don't personally own a Chris Reeve knife, but I would like to own one day. The Strider, I'm going to have to check them out.
I don't know anything about either one. I'll have to do some Googling, see what they're all about.
Chris Reeve stuff's cool. Strider, I'll have to Google and learn about.
Can you actually get these? It's like there's a ton of cool knives in every one. It's just not taking orders, no DMs.
I think that Chris Reeves is he's been around for a long time. And if I remember, I could be completely speaking, but I'm pretty sure that Chris Reeves did a thing with Benchmade 5-6 years ago, and there was a run of 5 or 6 Benchmade knives that were Chris Reeve designed. Or
was that?
Do they have the
collab?
S on them?
Was that before his passing, or
that's a different guy. Yeah,
that's not Superman. These are not
That's
Superman knives.
Yeah, no, that's different guy.
Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know.
I didn't say Christopher.
Well,
He went
Jonathan,
by Chris.
John,
No, he went.
Jonathan, Michael. I don't
If you know
think.
anything about Superman, he was very adamant that he went by Christopher his whole entire life. He didn't like to be called Chris.
I'll tell you what I do know about.
Did he
knives, though.
die? I know he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah, he died.
No,
Hey.
Chris Reeve
Okay.
is a knife guy.
Okay.
I'll tell you something about knives, though. I don't really know a lot about Chris Reeve. I don't know about Strider, but what I do know about this knife right here.
Right here in listener questions, you're bringing out the knife, huh? I hear it.
Is this
That's a good segue.
No, bring it out.
Is it premature? Were we not doing?
No, yank it out.
Look at this unit right here. Josh over here.
That's quite the knife.
Yeah, Josh over here likes to say that he hates me. He wants to fight me. All
He
sorts of,
gives you weapons.
yeah, all sorts of hurtful things he says about me. But he also gave me this bitchin' knife for a Christmas present. And it's Heretic. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep.
Heretic Knives. I believe it's the son of
the founder of
Microtech.
So Marfione.
Yeah. And, the son's doing it better than the old man. I'm just going to say it.
Put it
I'm going to
out
put it
there,
right
huh?
out there. Yeah.
You like that better than Microtech.
This is
The
the
action
reverse.
is-
This is the reverse of the whole Shooter Jennings, Waylon Jennings situation. Okay. This would be Shooter.
Student has
yeah.
become the master.
Yes. The action on this thing is the best. The best. The action, the button, the little thumb knob, it's like knurled, it bites. It's the best action on an OTF. Total package. The weight, the action, the blade, how secure the blade is, the clip, it's got the little ball bearing. And it's got rad neon stuff, which I dig.
It's right up your alley. You've been playing with this thing for a long time.
Yeah. It's become my daily.
I
That's
put
my go-to.
I put my butt on it before I gave it to you. Now I feel confident telling you that I put my butt on it.
Is there a picture? It didn't happen.
Cool knife. The Heretic stuff is something to check out for sure. It was a little eye-opening because I didn't know that. I started doing some digging and realized the last name, and then started, yeah. It's funny that the son didn't follow in his father's footsteps, or he did, but he said, you know what, I got a couple
I'm going to
ideas.
show you a thing or
So
two,
that's an
man.
interesting brand, interesting familia. You've got the Marfione stuff,
Mhm.
which
and
is
Microtech.
and Microtech, and
The
then
Marfione stuff is the high
right.
super.
So I really want one. I want to add it to the collection, but the problem when I look at them, it is 90% of it is still Microtech, which is that's great. It's fine, but the price tag
It's just a fancy handle on it, or
is significantly
Yeah.
more.
Well,
But-
everything is touched, but it is like you took a Microtech out of the box assembly screw, and then he does another mill operation, or that one's in a color that you can't get in anything else, and then puts everything. So it is a little higher end, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's just
and I'm
a
not bagging
fancy,
on it. I mean, I want one, but
Yeah.
I just can't.
hard to justify
Yeah,
it.
I can't bring
have you seen
myself
some
to
of his
do
belt
it.
buckles and stuff he does? There's He just likes to show off and do cool shit. And I think that's kind of just justifies him flexing on some of that stuff. But yeah, he does awesome. But the Heretic stuff, from a aesthetic standpoint, I'm glad to hear you say that about the action and stuff. He's playing with finishes, and maybe it's just the younger generation. I mean, he's playing with colors and finishes and all kinds of stuff that's really, really fucking badass.
A lot of badass knives.
Yeah. I have to add one. I should have just kept that.
You should.
I'm surprised you didn't keep the one you gave me.
I know.
That's got your name
right
all
up my
over
alley.
it.
With all
Right up my
with all
alley.
the hurtful things I've said to you, I'm surprised you gave me such a nice.
You gave him
gift.
anything.
Thank
I
you.
told you to put my butt on it.
How does one put their butt on a knife? You just sit on it?
I feel like
Because I feel like there's
you
a
don't-
little different spin
Right.
on that
you
with
don't
the
put-
size.
You don't put
and-
the butt on the knife. You put the knife.
Well, this is a family podcast.
Well, yeah, we're gonna take
Yeah.
that all out.
right. Absolutely.
I think instead of editing this podcast, I just hit delete. Whole thing gone.
It'd probably save some time.
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't hear some of the funny things. There's like 3 or 4 things that we said that were pretty funny. And last but not least, it's time for our whiskey review. We've got 2 bottles out here. We started with 1. That bottle would be
Old Bardstown.
Estate Bottled Old Bardstown, 101 proof.
Willet product.
Yep.
Usually have pretty high hopes for the Willet stuff.
Well, this is what we refer to as a bottom shelf bomber.
Okay, which is why it doesn't necessarily have the full Willet name on it.
The Willet pot still good bourbon.
Yeah, well, I mean, distilleries are large and they make lots of things.
Yeah.
Right. This is their entry level. This is like, hey, you want some Willet?
Chevy makes the Corvette and the Equinox.
It's a $39 bottle of bourbon. Is it fantastic? No. Is it the worst thing I've ever had? No. Is it better than most of your traditional brand name whiskeys? Yes. It's a 6.5 for me.
Oh, you're just firing. You're
Just firing it off.
bad
That's-
review.
Yeah, that's high.
That's
that's significantly high.
It's not high.
Maybe you are, but it's a high review. Yeah, I'm with you on the better than the big name standard gallon bottles. I didn't like it at all. Tried a little bit of water in it, smoothed it out a little bit. I'm gonna go like a just even 5. I think it was the unanimous rating across the board was nobody went for a second glass, and we see how full it is, and then shifted gears to something else.
It's for the $39. It's worth somebody that's wanting to try new things to give it a shot. Everybody's palate's different. Some people like things that other people don't like. It's not a go seek it out.
Let's just get down to it. You've got the buy it's, you got the don't buy it's. For me, it's a don't buy it. I'll echo Phil's review. I think he's pretty spot on with the 5.0. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
No problem.
Don't buy it. Can't spread love on all of them.
I'm not
good.
spreading love. I'm just
I'll
there's
tell you
things
what,
that
hey,
suck that I'll say that suck.
Yeah.
And that's not one that sucks to me. It's not great. The flavor isn't bad. It's more so the proof and the burn, the youngness of the alcohol that's a negative for me. But the flavor, I've had some that just the flavor sucks, and that's something I can't get past. I can get past a little bit burn. But again, everybody's different. We don't have to fucking agree.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You don't like that?
No, yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely. Yeah, we got through the first glass. Needed a little bit more bourbon. We needed to cleanse the palate with something that is a go-to that is awesome. And we've got that IW Harper 15 hiding out on the back shelf there, which everybody knows is solid. That was the second whiskey we drank. I believe we've reviewed that in the past.
We should have.
Yeah, go ahead and buy that
Yeah.
and buy all of it you see on the shelf and put it in your collection. If there's 2 of them on the shelf, buy 2. If there's 5,
Let's not let the cat completely out of the bag. So that one's you can
That's
still
fine.
find it every once in a while. You
yeah, I
wanna
don't know
make it
that like the
scarce.
15 to 20 people that are listening to this
It's gonna
are
hurt us.
gonna go out and just drain the shelves. But
Yeah, me personally, that's one that, like, regardless of your financial status, like, if you have to finance a lot of it, like,
yeah, finance.
buy as many bottles as you can get. I love it. I absolutely fucking love it.
Start an OnlyFans page. If
But
yeah,
Josh
generate-
did.
Yeah,
That's maybe there you can see about your knife. Go to my OnlyFans page.
Yeah.
We got to try their entry level.
We have the
no.
It's over there.
Do we?
Oh, you're saying yeah.
No, not
They've got like a
round bottle.
They got like a $35, $40
Yes,
version.
we do need to do that.
We did the Cabernet cask. Was it cab cask or was it like a double oaked?
No, we've got the cab cask over there, which is good. But there's one beneath that.
Yeah.
Like you said, like the OG.
The bottle looks the same. It's just printed.
Yeah.
Instead of the decanter deal.
Yeah,
that's a good go-to.
The other one's a round bottle. The bottom of the.
It is.
You sure?
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that's even lower than because they've got one that's that shape.
That's that one over there, the cab cask.
No, they got a regular one too.
No.
They got that bottle and that bottle.
Google
they got
it.
a round bottle.
Google it. Yeah, they got a round bottle that's like kind of fat round bottle. That's the bottom shelfer.
Cab. Yeah, we do need to try the current round bottle. No age statement, I.W. Harper. I thought for sure that we picked that bottle up not too long ago and we're going to try it. But anyway, we digress. Thanks again for listening to the Oil and Whiskey with the Roadster Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, be sure to leave us a rating and review. We learned today, smash that like button.
No, it was the subscribe button.
Subscribe.
You obviously didn't learn shit.
Yeah, forget about the like button. Subscribe.
He said like doesn't mean anything.
Well, like
he
it
said
too.
it was views and subscribe.
Yeah, like it and then subscribe.
Smash that subscribe button. Hit the push the subscribe button. Find subscribe and
gently click it.
Thanks again to our guest, Nolan Sykes. We'll see you again next week.